Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm playing with some old junk again, and as usual it's not junk, it's a beautiful Yamaha CR-1000 amplifier radio receiver. It was built from 1974 to 1976 and yeah, it's quite a heavy machine. This one is 18.5 kilograms or 40 pounds for the American viewers. It has a power output of 2 times 80 watt at 8 ohms. Yamaha made quite a lot of beautiful amplifiers and receivers. The flagship was the CR-1000, a similar unit like this one, but twice as heavy, 37 kilogram or 81 pounds, with a power output of 2 times 270 watts, or dynamic power maybe 2 times 300 watts, who knows. But we are talking about the CR-1000, and that's the unit here. This amplifier has a couple of quite unique features, for example FM muting here, that reduces the noise between stations, so radio amateurs would call it the squelch regulator. Then we have a microphone volume for a microphone input. You know, Yamaha, it's a Japanese brand. Japanese love karaoke input. There is a switch that turns the microphone off, and if that switch is not doing right, it may create some horrible sounds. Then we have all kinds of filters here. High frequency filter, low frequency filter. You can select the frequency where this filter starts. So if you want to cut off only very high frequencies, you set it to 12 kilohertz or 6, and the low frequencies start at 20 hertz or 70 hertz. Or you turn it off. This switch here goes in combination with the treble and bass regulators here. They all have clicks for each individual number, but there's a normal potentiometer behind that. Then we have loudness and balance. So this is flat and that is full loudness. So you have a vast range of possibilities to adjust the sound to your liking. Balance. And of course there is a volume pot. It's the small one, because the bigger one is the tuning pot or the tuning dial. Another small problem I have to fix is this indicator here that doesn't go straight all the time, so it wobbles a little bit. Maybe it needs a little bit of grease on the lower side here, because the wire that drives this indicator is on the top. Yeah, that doesn't look good, but that's not really a problem. Another interesting detail is this one. As soon as I touch the dial knob here, the AFC LED gets darker or turns off. No, it only gets a little bit darker. That's a sensor contact here. AFC is the automatic frequency control. That's for FM radios, because if you tune in a station your receiver may drift a little bit when it becomes warm or becomes cold or whatever, and you may lose that station, and to keep it receiving the station correctly, you have the AFC, the automatic frequency control. So once you're on the station, it tries to keep that frequency. There is a similar mechanism in AM radios. It's AGC, automatic gain control. And the problem is, when you're tuning a station, you don't want the old station to be locked in all the time, because that makes tuning a little bit harder. So it tries to keep the old station, so you have to turn it off. Some receivers have a switch for that, and this one does it automatically. As soon as you touch the wheel here, AFC goes out, and if you tune into a station like here, that's a little bit a weak station, that's a good one, and as soon as you release the button, AFC kicks in and you're on your station. To remove the chassis from the wooden housing, you have to remove these 7 screws here, and then the whole chassis slides out, and well, like so. There is something important I forgot to say. Before you try to remove the chassis from the housing, you have to set the dial below 97 megahertz. Why is that? Because here in the center of the housing there is a bracket, and if the needle assembly here is around here, it will get stuck, and you will eventually damage the whole mechanism. That's something I just did now, so I have to fix that too. Well, I forgot that, but that's really important. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? It's such a nicely constructed machine. There are a lot of hidden secrets here. For example, here we have hinges. The whole assembly here, the whole radio assembly can be lifted up, but only if the dial is here at this slot. So it is important to have the dial at the correct position to do that. And as I said before, it is also important to have the dial lower than this position, because here is this bracket. Or it happens what just happened to me. You break the wire that is moving the dial here. This is the pointer for the FM frequency scale. It has an illumination, it has a little lamp here with a cable, and they installed this bracket here to prevent that this cable gets entangled with the rope here. And there's also a Teflon cover here, so that the wire here can slide easily without any friction. So Teflon coated bracket only because there is a wire that has to move. That's attention to detail. So let's remove that to get access to this rope mechanism. Yeah, of course there is also a tension spring. So maybe, well, I think the easiest way would be to install a completely new rope. Let's see if I have something that fits, but I think I will do that off camera because, yeah, that takes too long and is probably not as interesting. So to prevent further damage, I'm moving this pointer here into this cutout. That's important. Then we have one red screw here and another red screw there. That's also nice that they marked these screws with colors, so you have to remove the red screws and you don't have to remove all the other screws. Let me see, is that all? No, there are two more red screws here for this part of the chassis. Let me see. Oh, I have to remove the knob first, otherwise that won't work. By the way, all these steps are clearly indicated in the service manual, so sometimes it is better to read the service manual before starting working. And you also see there is a cutout to reach the screw of this knob here. Is it only one screw? No, it is two of them, 90 degrees apart. Of course it's two screws, because one screw is not good enough. And it's off. And now it should be possible to lift that up. There's a screw. There is two more screws here. Did I already mention that this thing is actually built like a tank? Now it goes up. And if you think that's all the hinges it has, no, there is a hinge more. You have to remove two screws, two red screws, and the whole front panel can be flipped down. Oops, let me see, yeah, over the edge of the table. So you can access all the potentiometers and switches and boards here. After creating a new problem with the tuning rope, I think I already identified the problem with this microphone switch. So this here is the FM anti-noise regulator switch. You can hear that, it makes a clearly audible click here. While the other one, the microphone regulator, it's only doing a half click, and only if I press the knob to the right, to the left here, it seems to activate that switch properly. So I think the easiest way to fix that is to bend that little bracket here a little bit. Okay, that sounds a bit better. Now this one is bent. Okay, didn't see that. Okay. I think that's much better than before. Alright, before I destroy more of this beautiful device, we have a look inside. There is a huge power transformer. That's a big part of the heavy weight, of course. Then we have two separate power stages here with the nice transistors here. 1, 2, 3, 4. This, of course, is the tuner board together with the tuning capacitor here, the variable capacitor. There is the power supply, and well, I think that's mainly the power supply here with the big capacitors here. Then we have some preamplifier stuff here that is attached to the front panel. So it's all in little modules, so each of the potentiometers here on the front has its own little PCB here, or each group of potentiometers. So I guess that part here is for the treble and bass adjustment. Somewhere is certainly a phono preamp, because we can attach two phonos here. It's from the time when record players were everywhere. So take care that this one goes in smoothly, okay, without breaking. And of course we need to have a look at the rear panel. You can see Mr. Yamamura or Mrs. Yamamura signed for the quality of this device. And here it is in all its glory. We have radio antenna, coaxial, and the 300 ohm antenna input here. Another 75 ohm here. That lets you attach a coax cable directly. Here is the ground clamp, and then the hot wire goes to this terminal. We have inputs, phono inputs, with 3 different settings. So depending on what cartridge you have on your phono, you can select the right impedance here. Phono 1, phono 2. I assume that both phonos then must have the same impedance, because there is only one switch for 2 inputs. Aux 1 and 2. We have 2 ground screws for the 2 phonos. We have a tape A and B, in and out, left and right, left and right. Then we have a multipath output that goes to a separate stereo decoder, which I have never seen in my life. Then we have a IF out, so that's the intermediate frequency from the tuner. I don't know exactly why they need an output for that. We have a preamplifier out and in, so here you can connect, for example, a graphic equalizer going out from the device and then coming back in. There is a switch which is currently on, and it is protected by this tab here that connects the output to the input directly, so you don't need any jumper cables here to connect these two. You only put the switch to on, and the input and the output here is connected, so the sound comes from the preamplifier and goes to the power amplifier. And here we have the output connectors. They are nicely made. You don't need any connectors. You can plug in the bare wires here. You notice the hole is not very big, so you can't use these modern speaker cables that have 10 or 20 square millimeters. Alright, I finally did it. It took about 5 tries with different threads and ropes and stuff, and I ended up using this one. It's red, it's not white, so please excuse that, but it works. So the only thing I didn't connect yet is the pointer here, and that's turned out to be pretty simple. So I move it to the one end of the travel here. That means that one has to go up, and all the way up means up to the latest marking here. Then I attach the thread. Release the tension a little bit. Move that below that tab here. Put it back on the pulley here. Okay, that should do the trick. So there is one end here, and if I turn it back down here, that's the other end, and you see there is an extra marker here next to 88. I'm pretty sure that's exactly for that. And here is 108, that's the highest frequency normally, but it has 1, 2, 3 markers more, and the mechanical end of the capacitor is exactly here. So next thing is to try to actually find a station with a known frequency, and then I can fine adjust that needle so that it works perfectly again. Okay. 2 things fixed, 1 thing broken by myself. That's it for today. Thanks for watching.